Hello everybody, this is Adrian for WapCar.my and I'm all about the details. If you're looking for the perfect family EV for your daily roundabout everyday commute, this is the perfect car for you, the GAC Aion Y Plus. I know that the design of the GAC Aion Y Plus may not be to everyone's taste, but I myself personally quite fancy how this car looks. I like the angel wing headlamps, the light bar over to the rear, the 18-inch alloys on this top of the range variant. But this entire car just looks like a very happy family sort of 5-seater SUV. One particular feature on the Aion Y Plus that I myself value it very much is how the rear doors opens to almost completely 90 degrees. And it just helps ingress and egress for older folks, parents with children. You have to place your baby in a child seat so much easier. You just don't have to knock your doors. And look at the steps to enter. For older folks, this is very easy. I quite like the rear design of the Aion Y Plus. It's actually very smart, very neatly designed. I love the light bar that runs across. Very smart design. Now, in the top range model, you'll have power tailgate, which you stand close to the car, keys in your pocket, and it automatically pops up the boot that opens up to 405 liters, which you're able to dump in your bags effortlessly. Now, underneath here, there's a space saver spare wheel, but not much compartments where you can put your loose items. The Aion Y Plus comes with a 63.2 kWh lithium-ion battery pack, but charging speed is not its strongest suit. A little bit of a letdown if you ask me. AC charging is only up to 6.6 kW. So if you charge it at home, a full charge from 0% to 100 takes about under 10 hours. DC fast charging is 80 kilowatts. Stepping inside to the cabin of the Aion Y Plus, first thing you'll notice, yes, comfort access for the powered seat over on the driver's side. Now, inside here, immediately you tell that this is a very minimalistic, very simple cabin, and it's just kind of similar to what you get in all Chinese EVs. You have a massive screen here, you have a digital display, 3-spoke steering, as well as a raised center console with an opening right here to put your items. So yeah, everything in here is actually quite simple, quite straightforward. And what I love inside here is that the screen is very straightforward, very easy and intuitive to use. There's virtually no learning curve. And there are 3 different color combinations that you can option your Aion Y Plus interior. So the one that I have here is in grey and blue. This is a very smart, simple interior. I love the ambient light that runs across the dashboard as well as the door panels here. It'll be nice if it extends all the way to the rear seats though. Cabin practicality and storage in here is aplenty. You're able to place your phone over here for a wireless charging, a little tray here, 2 cup holders. It opens up to a little more storage space, and as well as a center console to put your loose items. However, it does not fit your large size water bottle, not on the side door bins, and not even over on the center here. Features that I quite like in here is the teh tarik hook that supports up to 3 kilograms of load, this panoramic glass roof that's massive, I love it, as well as ventilated seats, but only for the driver. Yep, the passenger side does not get ventilated seats. Now in here, if you're out in camping or you're out at night, you're having date nights with your partner, you can actually fold the seats inside the Aion Y Plus completely flat, and you're able to sit behind and turn it into sort of like a makeshift bed. And this being an EV, you have no risk of having poisoning when you're seated in here. It's so spacious in here. I'm going to show you the back seats in a bit. Now, what I don't quite like inside this interior is, number one, once you've plugged into Apple CarPlay, the only way to get back to the car's homepage is to scroll into this GAC menu right here. There's no other way to go back into the home screen because of the lack of a home button. It makes it kind of inconvenient when you are trying to change between the different drive modes or in-car settings, for example, your lights and all that, or even changing your climate control. Yes, I understand there is voice command which you can do it, but there are some functions where you are not able to use voice command, for example, changing the different drive modes or fiddling with your in-car settings. But I did found walk about to this sort of issue is that once you wake up,
I'm here.
the voice command system, it jumps to the home page, which you can very quickly select whatever that you need. But the problem is this voice command will just keep on stay, and the moment it goes away, it pops back into your Apple CarPlay screen. Next up is the translation or grammar in here. So for example, radio is called broadcasting station, which nobody says that. Travel, that could be navigation, right? But what is the most jarring is that when you're driving and you try to turn on the 360-degree view camera, read it for yourself. The instrument digital cluster is you have two different themes you're able to switch between just by pressing the view button, which I think is actually quite smart and quite cool. And it tells you once you have your ADAS on, it tells you the line, it shows you whether the car's in lane, as well as the different cars or motorcycles in front and around you. It also tells you the distance that you have between the car or object in front. What is the distance exactly by how many meters in front? It's able to detect that. But what I think it's lacking in this screen is the instantaneous battery consumption or electric consumption, power consumption when you're driving. All it shows is the average once you've commuted a few kilometers. So I think that will be something that's nice to have and show, because it tells you whether you're driving efficiently or not, and you're able to modulate your driving style accordingly. Seated in the back seats, I have the front seat adjusted to my usual driving position, and I'm 175 cm tall. I have about 4 tennis balls worth of knee room. Incredibly spacious. The space in the footwell is aplenty. I'm able to comfortably stretch and place my feet underneath the front seat for a more comfortable sitting position. And if you notice that the center tunnel is completely flat, so the middle passenger will also be very comfortable. You don't have to fight for foot space with your other two. Now, over here, amenities include 2 back pockets, rear air vents, a USB Type-A charging port, center armrests with 2 cup holders. Now, I think what will complete the package is if it has reclining rear seats or adjustable recline for the rear seats. But otherwise, I have zero complaints in the back seats of the Aion Y Plus. Just so spacious in here. Now, if you're wondering why am I in my UV jacket, that's because in the Y Plus, there's just lots of glass around. So there's a lot of light coming through the cabin. Yeah, so that's why I need my jacket on. But one important thing is that on the flip side, it means that you get really good visibility. So especially on the A-pillars, you get to see through that little glass over on the A-pillars, especially when you turn it around. There's just a lot of view, outward visibility that you can get inside the Aion Y Plus. But my suggestion is to get really good tints when you purchase your Aion Y Plus. It's evident that when the engineers were developing the Aion Y Plus, they were developing it from the passenger seat, because everything about this Aion Y Plus is all about passenger comfort. So for example, there is this iPedal function, which sort of like single pedal driving. I'll explain that a bit later, what I mean by it feels like single pedal driving. But what is important in the Y Plus is that when you turn on iPedal, the moment you lift off, the regeneration or deceleration that you get, regenerative braking, it's not as intense, or rather it's very smooth for the passengers. So you can see as I'm coming up to a corner, I lift off completely. It's a very gradual, natural movement for regenerative braking. So what it means is that it really prioritizes the passenger, so you don't get motion sickness while being in an EV all that much. Now this iPedal function, in a very technical sense, it's not single pedal driving. Yes, it's able to come to zero velocity, it's able to come to zero, but it's not going to help you stop completely. So you have to still manually apply the brakes, pressing the brake pedal so that it activates the auto hold or EPB, whatever you're using. So yeah, this Aion Y Plus, in the strictest sense, it does not come with single pedal driving. But in terms of ride comfort, the suspension is just so supple. It's one of the best that I've ever driven in an EV, and that says a lot, because for this price point, the problem with EVs is that it's very difficult to get the suspension right. The car's very heavy, battery packs and all that. So when you go over bumps and undulations, they have to, spring it quite firm so that it's able to hold the car's weight across the bends. But in this Aion Y Plus, it weighs about 1,600 plus kilograms. It's a relatively light EV. And when you're going over the suspension, especially this kind of expensive joints, it's supple. It's very, very comfortable. So passengers in this Aion Y Plus would get the best of both worlds in terms of a smooth ride and good stability while you're on the highway. But that doesn't mean that as a driver you can't have a lot of fun in the Aion Y Plus. When you're taking around the corners and bends, the Aion Y Plus actually has very good weight distribution. The center of gravity is low despite of this tall looking car. It's because the battery is underneath here. So when you're taking around the bends and all that, you feel a sense of confidence. You know, you're able to very confidently, tuck the car in and around the bends. So yeah, as a driver, it's not all, a short-foot driven car. So as a driver, you can still quite have a little bit of pleasure behind the wheel of the Aion Y Plus. In the Aion Y Plus, there's 4 different drive modes: Eco, Normal, Sport, and I-Pedal. In Eco and I-Pedal, you get the power. If you show the power screen, it limits up to 60% only. And when you're in normal mode, it goes up to 80 to 86%. So if you want the full beans, you have to turn on Sport mode to get full power from the Aion Y Plus. Another thing that I'm quite surprised in the Y Plus is how I'm not inclined to turn off lane keep assist. It's one of the very, very few cars that I'm not inclined to turn the systems off, because the Aion Y Plus does it very smartly. It's able to kind of get you whether are you intentionally or unintentionally weaving out of your lane. So for example, I'm now very intentionally going out. It does not tuck the steering wheel because it knows that I'm purposely, turning across the lane, across the line, wanting to avoid whatever it is in front of me. But if it's unintentional, it will still tuck you back into lane. So this is one of the very, very less intrusive systems that I've experienced in a modern car. So in the Y Plus, very, very big thumbs up. But on the other side, when you're using the adaptive cruise control, lane keep control, it's following the lanes and all that, it's actually very smart, very intuitive, except, which it's a problem across all cars, whatever it is in Malaysia, is that it still cannot detect or very smartly detect those, motorbikes or other drivers that just cuts into your lane abruptly. On paper, a full charge in the Aion Y Plus is able to return up to 430 kilometers based on the WLTP range. And so far, I've driven about 227 kilometers, and the onboard computer shows that I'm consuming about 15.3 kilowatt hour per 100 kilometers. Now, this is actually very efficient for any EV. Anything that's between 50 or below 15, it's actually very, very good. And in the Aion Y Plus, so far, I still have about half battery, about 44%, 200 kilometers. So I am actually very, very confident that I'm able to return or get back 400 plus kilometers on a full charge, which is more than enough for my weekly commute. The GAC Aion Y Plus is one of the most underrated EVs that I've driven. Every single time you talk about EVs, it's all about performance, it's all about speed, it's all about acceleration. But this Aion Y Plus, all it does is to have ferrying everyone in pure comfort. So if you're really looking for a everyday daily roundabout for you to send your kids to school, whether you're using for e-hailing or even just sending your parents in and out, I think the GAC Aion Y Plus is the perfect car for you. It's spacious, it's practical, and most importantly, it's very comfortable in terms of its EV driving as well as suspension comfort. But let me know in the comment section below, what do you think of the GAC Aion Y Plus? As always, thanks for watching. We hope you enjoyed this video and make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more videos like this. My name's Adrian and I'll see you guys in the next one.